Hi guys, I'm Niccolo and I was at Tanglin since nursery in 2001 and I was there all the way to graduating in 2016. I'm currently studying medicine at University College London and barring an unforeseen disaster with my exam last month, will be starting my third year in September, doing an integrated Bachelor of Science in Neuroscience. During this video, I'll be talking about how I got where I am today, the lessons I learned along the way, why I chose medicine, and my advice, not only on how to getting through NS, if that's what you're required to do, but how to get into medical school, if being a doctor is what you want for a future career. So before I started at UCL in September 2018, because I was a second generation permanent resident, I was required to do national service. So pretty much right after graduating and celebrating, a couple of days after I received my IB results, I then enlisted on July the 9th, 2016. I first went through 9 weeks of basic military training on Tanglin Island, which, if you don't know where that is an island right next to Bulauba. You can often see it if you look out the window as you take off from Changi Airport to travel to the UK. There, I learnt things like how to shoot a rifle, throw a grenade, group tactics, military drills, how to fall in line, the whole lot. After basic military training, I had the privilege of being selected for Officer Cadet School, or OCS, a 9-month course where I trained to be an infantry platoon commander. During this period, I learnt a lot, just how far I could push myself, how people, including myself, react when they're at their lowest, how some people will only, unfortunately, look out for themselves, and how others are some of the most selfless and most loyal people that you'll ever meet. Some experiences have been the hardest I've gone through to date. For example, like my survival training in the Brunei jungle, or exercises in Singapore, where I spent night after night digging trenches and setting up defensive positions. Whilst I wouldn't want to go through them again, remembering that I was able to complete it with my fellow cadets, many of whom are still my close friends, helps remind me during tough times now that I have the mentality and the capability to get through them. So after graduating from Officer Cadet School, which was a moment I still feel was one of the happiest and proudest I've experienced, I went into an infantry unit specializing in installation protection. I met some great people there too. Because I managed to rank the second in my cohort of infantry officers, I had the chance to do advanced infantry officer training, where I learned how to command a company comprising more than 100 men. And this I had the chance to do in my final few months of NS, when I took charge of building and training a company that would become a deployable NS unit in the future. Doing NS is something that I could go on about for ages. Having gone through it, I know it's daunting and a bit scary at first. It is 2 years of your life that you'll spend doing something that you might not have initially wanted to do, whilst a lot of your friends go off to university. I understand being apprehensive that you'll be surrounded by people from different backgrounds who might not even speak the same language as you, and having to get used to the military hierarchy. However, it is a cliche, I know, but I really did learn a great deal about myself and matured quite a bit. For example, I learned how to carry myself when my men were watching me. I learned how to lead, command, and influence, and got used to persevering in the face of adversity. And now I know how I react when I'm stressed. These are all lessons I wouldn't have learned had it not been for NS, which made me feel prepared for university and challenges I might face later on in life. So, my best advice for people who enlist in the future is really to make the most of it. Start your preparations early. Get all the medical and fitness tests done so you have an enlistment day, but be conducive for any plans you have after NS. For example, because I enlisted early, I ended early and had the chance to go on a Euro trip with some of my best mates from Tanglin. It also gives you the time to complete your exams. Well, it gives you the time to focus on completing your exams and focus on graduating from Tanglin. Another cliche coming up, but it really is true that what you put into NS is what you take out of it. Don't be afraid that you won't fit in coming from an international school, because not only will there be people like you, but other people are more friendly and willing to learn about where you come from than you think. People are also just as nervous for it as you are, and will likely be feeling the same feelings that you do, so will also be keen to fit in. You adapt pretty quickly to NS because there are measures in place that allow you to do so. So I would not worry about that either. Be open-minded, be willing to learn, not just about the military things you're taught, but also about other people and other cultures that you might not have been exposed to at home. You'll be thankful you did. Don't be disheartened if things don't go your way, because sometimes they won't. Learn from it for the future. Above all else, probably my most important tip is to remain positive. Whether you do that by inviting your new NS mates over for meals or going out with them, keeping in contact with your Tanglin friends, spending more time with your family, asking for advice from people like me who've been through it, or reminding yourself that eventually your 2 years in NS will end, no matter what you do. That's the most important thing, to remain positive. Make your experience worthwhile, and the 2 years will pass by quickly. Hard to believe, but you might even miss them, as I sometimes catch myself doing now.